what, 3 QB sneaks and scored twice? That's crazy.
That's
That's
a very
absolutely crazy.
talented offensive line, and B, a very strong quarterback
Yes.
who can actually move the pile himself with his own strength. There aren't guys who can do that in the league the way that Jalen Hurts does. It's a victorious Monday morning here on Birds 365 for the 5th consecutive week. The Philadelphia Eagles, only undefeated team in the NFL at 5-0, but they got some company up at top of the NFC East. It's the NFC Beast this year, and Barrett and I will certainly talk about that with the Cowboys coming in this week and the Giants off to their fast start with their impressive win against the Packers in London early yesterday. Barrett, one of the things that the Eagles weren't great at yesterday, and I think Eagle fans got a little spoiled after that 8-sack game against Carson Wentz a couple of weeks ago. Yesterday, the Eagles were capable of only registering 1 sack. Nice one by Hassan Reddick, which, oh, by the way, on that play, some people say, well, he's a little undersized. He's a tweener. He's not really a defensive end. He's outside linebacker. He just took the tackle and pushed him backwards about 4 yards, and then at the end just shed him and slipped right by him to get to an unsuspecting Kyler Murray. It was a dynamite play by Hassan Reddick, but it was the only Eagles sack of the day. They didn't get near as much pressure as they have in the last couple of weeks with their defensive line. And when they were racking up 8 sacks, they were doing so without much of a blitz. They're just getting home with their front 4. Not as much yesterday. I heard some people say the Cardinals' offensive line was ripe for the picking coming into the game yesterday. I thought they played pretty damn well, as a matter of fact, but the Eagles were not able to generate a pass rush. Gannon a little short on the blitz yesterday?
No, I think it was by design. You want to go get sacks. You want your defensive line to go out there and hunt, but you have to rush Kyler Murray a different way than you do a regular quarterback. You have to be very, very disciplined in your rush lanes. You have to understand that if you give him an alley, he's going to take it, and he's good enough that he can make you pay for it. So they rushed him a lot differently, and when they did blitz him, they brought blitzes up the middle. When you blitz Kyler Murray, when you rush against Kyler Murray, if you rush like any other conventional quarterback, if you try to take the arc and go around and they push you by and try to get him, that's when he goes out of the pocket and he wants to make plays. You wanted to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket because he can't see it over those offensive linemen. So that's by design. Once you got the quarterback level, that's when they started to just press the pocket. That means they keep their guy and press their guy into Kyler Murray. You press the pocket. So that's why you didn't get a lot of sacks, because you wanted to keep him confined inside the pocket so he couldn't go out there and beat you by running around like he used. His frenetic play is a major way on how he likes to run the offense. He likes to play scramble drill with his receivers, and you didn't want him to do that. So that's why he didn't get a lot of the quarterback sacks and a lot of pressure that you would usually see. They made him win from in the pocket. He just happened to have a good game and was able to pass the ball when he was in the pocket. But that was just by game planning. He's better when he's running around making plays. That's when he does the best. And then when you saw at the end, when they did start bringing the blitz, when the game was on the line, they did start doing that. If you notice, as they started doing that, that's when he started breaking out, and they called run plays for him because they knew that they were trying to get to him. And that's what, that's really hurt them towards the end of the game, and why they got a lot of junk yardage, from him scrambling around, because they were trying to go sack him as opposed to keeping him contained inside the pocket.
Yeah, but they didn't call that many running plays for him. The biggest play where he slid and came up short, that I don't believe was a designed run. That was just Murray seeing a major opening and thinking he could get
right. They were rushing the passer. That's when they were rushing the passer. They weren't disciplined in their rush lanes. They didn't mush rush him on that play. That play they were trying to go for it. They were trying to go for it. Yeah,
there was a gap, but it wasn't a blitz. I think it was just with the front 4. And that was one of my mishandicaps from yesterday. And if you check their stats from the first 4 games, you should have known it. You could have known it for damn sure. Kyler Murray is not a running weapon the way that Jalen Hurts is running weapon.
Exactly. He's a thrower. Yes.
Yesterday, Kyler Murray ran it 4 times, including that big play late. So up until that point, he only had 3, and only 2 of them were actually of consequence.
Yep.
Only ran it 4 times all day long. Jalen Hurts ran it 15. That's almost 4 times as many rush attempts from the quarterback position by the Eagles and the Cardinals. That scared me going into yesterday's game. It's one of the reasons why I thought the Cardinals could actually steal it from the Eagles. I thought Murray was going to take off more often than he did. We talked about it in the first segment about, is it Kyler Murray trying to make a statement that he's not a running quarterback? If he is, shame on him for that. But
you know what? Joe, that was actually defense that put him in that position. Defensively, they wanted to keep him inside the pocket, so that's why he didn't run a lot. You know, when he runs, it's a lot different than with Jalen Hurts runs. When Jalen Hurts runs, he's trying to go get a first down. He's legitimately running, trying to gain yards. When Kyler does it, he's not going to gain yards. He got his mind. He's got his mind set on pushing the ball down the field. They call it a scramble drill. You know, that's what they like to do. They run and try to get open, and while he's running around there like a chicken with his head cut off, run around. He's not trying to go down the field. He's trying to look and get the ball down the field. He's trying to pass the ball as opposed to run the ball.
Let me ask you a question about yesterday's, again, play calling / spreading around of the ball. Probably the lightest day that A.J. Brown has had since he got here. For some reason, he wasn't out there when the game started or the Eagles first played. Not when the game started, because the Eagles won the toss. And as always, they defer and they kick off first. But when the Eagles got the ball first, he wasn't out for the first couple plays. Then he was, and they threw the ball to him right away as soon as he got on the field. And then they kind of went away from him yesterday. If you're going to be throwing all these wide receiver screens, I just assume throw it to A.J. Brown because he's bigger and stronger and more ability to break tackles than any of the other wide receivers. What do you think was the plan behind A.J. Brown not being as big a part of the plan as usual?
You know, I don't know exactly what the game plan is, but I thought that, you know, and you could kind of tell by how the ball was distributed, that it was going to be a Dallas Goedert type of day. They wanted to focus on making sure Goddard was the weapon of the day. He was basically the drink of the day. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to feature him, so they made a concerted effort at getting the ball to him. And not to say that's a bad drink to go to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, he is a weapon. He is good at what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get him like a couple of those screens. Man, he was averaging like 8 yards a pop on those screen plays until the defense started playing on the outside like they did and became more confident in their ability to go up and tackle. But he was killing folks, man. You know, so I understood why they went to AJ. He opened it up a little bit, and then after that, you're right, he kind of disappeared from the offense. Then they started going to Smitty, and you know the Slim Reaper, man. They were tattooing him once they started getting that confident and making plays. They were running through those outside blocks for those speed screens they were trying to run. And I don't know why we just didn't go back to what we usually do. You know what I'm saying? Why not go back to AJ? You know, it seemed like he became null and void in the offense again, you know, and they stopped running the ball. You know, like I said, for 2.5 quarters, I must say Shane Steichen got out coached for 2.5 quarters.
And, oh, by the way, throwing a lot to Dallas Goedert is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
A little surprised that a little less than AJ usually
what do you have, like 95 yards?
8 catches for 95 yards.
Yeah,
I was on WIP yesterday morning with my buddy Glenn McNow. And he said, I can't believe you're picking the Cardinals. I said, yeah, by 1 point. I'm going to take the Cardinals plus 5.5. Oh, by the way, that was a winner. But I actually thought the Cardinals had a chance to steal the game. I said one of the things that scared me with the Cardinals going into the game was I thought Zach Ertz could have a big game. Murray likes to throw it to him. If you're going to spy Kaiser White, and that's what most people thought was going to be the case, and they did it on a lot of plays yesterday, Kaiser was locked in on Murray to try and make sure he doesn't take off and make a big play with his legs, which, oh, by the way, we now know after the fact isn't really what he wants to do. He'd rather just run around behind the line of scrimmage and wait till maybe he gets a guy open and then throw the football. He doesn't just take off and take the yards and move the sticks the way that Jalen Hurts does. But that's the way they defended. I thought that was going to be the case, which meant a lot of safety one-on-one coverage against Zach Ertz, and I thought he could make plays. Well, Ertz had a good game yesterday. Solid game yesterday.
Yeah,
6 catches for 48 yards. Nice game. But compared to Dallas Goedert, which is where I was wrong, I said I thought Goddard would do well because Arizona isn't great at covering the tight end either. I said both tight ends are going to have good days. Goddard 8 for 95. That's the difference between the two guys. And I know Zach Ertz is going to be an all-time favorite Eagle player / tight end. But the difference between those two guys is all about yak.
Yes.
Yards after catch.
Absolutely.
Zach catches it, and Zach gets tackled. Goddard catches it, and he either makes people miss or he's physical and strong enough that he fights his way through tackles. Goddard, 12 yards per reception. Ertz, 8 yards per reception. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up over the course of a game, and that was huge yesterday. The biggest offensive play of the game was that Goddard pass on the Eagles' last drive to give them the first down.
Unbelievable on that play. I mean, they brought the blitz. They brought the house on that. We call that zero blitz. That means if you're not covering somebody, that means you're rushing the quarterback. You're going. So if we have 3 receivers in and a tight end in, there's 3 guys on the 3 receivers and 1 guy on the on Dallas Goedert, and they brought everybody else. They brought the house, and it just so happens that on that play, our quarterback Jalen Hurts checks to a play. And when he checked to it, it was the perfect play because it was the blitz beater, and he got it to Goddard on the play. I mean, it was a wish and a prayer. He knew exactly where he was going to be at. He got out of his hands for the first down, but his run after the catch was unbelievable. He caught it at 11 and had 16. It was a 16-yard game.
Yep.
That was the difference in the game. It kept the sticks moving, but it's also Jalen Hurts' mastery of the offense, knowing what he needed to get to, the blitz beater, and get it to the guy who's gonna who's the blitz. The guy that was get open on the blitz. It was a perfect pass to him, got to him. It's just Jalen Hurts being masterful at this job and understanding where he needed to get the ball.
He did a nice job when he threw the ball downfield.
Yes.
Both Barrett and I agree. Too many wide receiver screens. Yeah, I get it. Cardinals would come and get it out quick, break a tackle. You got yourself a big play. Didn't break a tackle. The wide receivers were being brought down by the first guy facing them, and then all of a sudden it's a loss on a completed pass, which you never like to see. But they did a good job. When they threw the ball down the field, I thought Jalen did a good job of picking the right guy, and oftentimes that guy was Goddard yesterday. Want to note one other thing that I think was undersold yesterday. And again, it's a little luck involved, and Eagle fans don't want to hear about the Eagles getting lucky when they're 5-0. They got the ball inside the 10. They're trying to take the clock down as much as they possibly can before scoring a touchdown. Rather have a touchdown and a field goal, make it harder on the Cardinals. They ended up settling for the field goal, but the goal was to get a touchdown. Run it, make the Cardinals use a timeout. Run it, make the Cardinals use a timeout. On 3rd down, they threw the football. And when you throw the football, there's the risk of an incomplete.
Yes.
And if you throw an incomplete, you stop the clock for the opposition when you're trying to get the opposition to use up all their timeouts. It was a throw in traffic. There was slight separation there. Quez was open for like a millisecond, and he was behind Brown. They had the 2 wide receivers, not all that far separated down by the goal line. The Arizona Cardinal defensive back made a nice play.
Yeah, he
did. The
did.
ball got there. Quez got his hands on it, but the DB got his hands on it as well, and he completely wiped out Quez on the play. So he had no chance to catch the ball. But the Arizona DB, leveling as big as a hit as he did, actually hurt himself and couldn't get up off the ground. And the Cardinals were forced to use their final timeout because they had an injured player on the play with less than 2 minutes to go. That's a big plus, Barrett. And that's something that's just kind of happenstance, little luck involved. The Eagles, it was a good throw by Hurts. It was a tough throw by Hurts, and damn if he didn't almost jam it in there. But if the Cardinals have their timeout, when Murray takes off and makes that running play, you don't have to spike the ball. You just use your final timeout. and they get a couple of shots at the end zone instead. That was a little good fortitude for the Eagles.
Oh, I mean, you need luck. There's nothing wrong with being lucky, man. And sometimes the ball has to bounce your way. A lot of the time, it's hard work and talent that make the ball bounce your way. But hey, sometimes happenstance and the stars lining right, and everything just works out for them, man. And that's one of the unique times that it worked out for this Eagles team. This, like I said, you're not going to be blown away by the numbers this Eagles team are putting together. But what the thing that you love to have is that 5-0. You know what I'm saying? A win is a win. If you win by 1 point, it's still a win. If you win by 30 points, it's still a win. So that's all we're really worried about, man. They are 5-0 at this point. So I can't be mad at them. I can't be mad at them. What I can't be mad is, why are we throwing the ball on that situation? We should have went in and just scored the touchdown. Why not run the ball
one more time? Pound the rock, push your way into the end zone. Yeah,
and it would have been if they were scored so easy if they'd have just like ran a toss play, or even if Jalen would have just run a sprint right option, which is the best play in football. Sprint right option is just the whole offensive line act like they're run blocking to the right. He runs out there like he's going to sprint. He has the option of throwing the ball to the receiver on the outside, who I'll put my money with A.J. Brown all day, or he can just run it in. Everybody was inside there, inside the box. He could have just ran out there, man. But what do I know? That's what I would have done. I would have ran the ball, man. Just call a run play. Let's go. Have Kelsey pull around. They were controlling the line of scrimmage whenever they wanted to, man. So, I mean, come on. Now, we scored on 2 QB sneaks. 2 QB sneaks. That's ridiculous. They're going to do it, and they do it. So, in all actuality, they ran, 3 QB sneaks and scored twice? That's crazy.
That's
That's
a very talented offensive line, and B, a very strong quarterback who can actually move the pile himself with his own strength. There aren't guys who can do that in the league the way that Jalen Hurts does. So, yes, that was a very effective play.
And you know what? There's a little niche they're going to have with that, too, because if you look on the play, they put him on that QB sneak. They had Gainwell behind him, but behind Gainwell, there was Devontae Smith back there. So I could see them going up, act like they're going to QB sneak it, and just tossing it to him on the outside, and he takes it in for a score. That's my little niche. Watch what I tell you. When they need it the most, that's what's going to happen.
Understood. All right. Want to get your thoughts on one guy on the offensive line. Dickerson came out yesterday.
Mauler.
Suapeta went in. And I like Suapeta. I'm not an offensive lineman like you, an offensive lineman. I can't judge the same way you can, but it seems to me that he's a good, solid, could be a starter on other teams around the National Football League. Great depth and backup guy to have here. They didn't run the ball as much as they usually do, by choice, by direction of the defense, that they thought they had other plays that could take advantage of what Arizona was doing. I don't have a film breakdown to all 22 to go through yet or anything like that, but I know you're an offensive lineman. You always keep an eye on that stuff. Opeta played well enough when he was in there for Dickerson.
Yes. They could have still run the ball. They just chose not to do it. I mean, when you look at that offensive line, Dickerson, Opeta are good enough that they're not going to lose you the game, but they're also not great enough to win you a game. Jordan Mailata is great enough that he will win you a game. He's that talented. But Dickerson's a guy that can win a game for you. Opeta, solid. He's not going to hurt you. He's going to play consistently. And that's how you judge offensive linemen if you're a backup. I was that guy for my last 4 years of my career. I was a backup. I was not going to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go in there and make stupid penalties. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to fight my ass off, and I'm going to make some things happen. But I'm not a guy that's going to go out there and just maul Reggie White. Like, a lot, if you look at Mailata, that'd have been him and it'd have been a battle with him and Mr. White would have killed him too, because he killed the greatest. But let's take Reggie out of this equation. But he'll maul anybody else. He'll kill anybody else, and that's how good Jordan Mailata is. He's good enough that he could win you a game just with the physicality, being 6'8", 370 pounds, and can run like a deer, and a physical guy. You know what I mean? He can win games for you, but he can't do that.
And I got to give one other offensive lineman I want to give credit to, and I need your input on this
Jack
as
Driscoll?
well. Driscoll, second week in a row. You're losing Jordan Mailata, and it was relatively early in the game. We tried to make the tackle on the pick six. Not the greatest effort there, Jordan. Sorry, I gave him a hard time for that last week, and I'm going to do it until he gets back in the lineup. Not the best defensive effort on Jordan. I know that's not what they're paying him all that money is to make tackles. It's to keep people from making tackles.
Right.
That's a good thing. He shouldn't be attempting to make tackles. But they plugged this kid in. He's more of a right-handed player than a left-handed player, so he's switching sides. He's more of a guard than he is a tackle. They put him in there. He did not get beat on any of those pressures yesterday.
Nope.
There was no breakdown on his side. When they ran the ball to the left-hand side, he was doing his job, specifically in that last drive up the middle / left. He was clearing guys out.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was trying to say. Why are we not running the ball when we had two guys in there that are not starters? Why would you not run the rock? It's harder to pass block against a guy like J.J. Watt than it is to run block. Have them blow him off the ball. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense that they were trying to pass the ball when you have two backups on the left side. It was Opeta and Driscoll on one side, and we're not running the ball. See, that's where I thought we got out coached. You run the ball when you have guys in there. Both of them are pretty good, especially Opeta. Opeta's strong as an ox. He's one of the strongest players on the team. Why would you not have him go out there and just be a mauler, a guy to just go off, get off the ball, double team, get to the second level? That's the type of player that Opeta is. Driscoll's good enough that he'll just get in somebody's way. Run the ball. You know what I'm saying? You still have your starting right side. Run the ball right. I just didn't understand why we didn't run the ball consistently when you have backups as on the offensive line. But it didn't make sense to me.
Let me make your day again, Barrett, because we touched on this right at the top of the show. When they got the ball back after the game was tied and they needed to move the ball down the field and kill some clock, 7 and change, they got the ball back. Miles, Hurts, Gainwell, Hurts. 8 consecutive running plays, moving the ball down the field, getting first down, tick, 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 watching the time come off the clock. They may have been a little slow getting to where Barrett Brooks liked, but you had to love that last drive where they just said, mano a mano, straight ahead. We're going to march it down the field, and we're going to watch the clock tick off on you guys.
Absolutely. It was poetry, man. I mean, they took time off the clock, controlled the line of scrimmage, ran the ball, and there was nothing that defense could do about it. That's the most demoralizing thing you can do to a defense is to run and they not be able to stop you. You start questioning each other. You start looking around like, come on, man, somebody got to make a play. And you just running the ball consistently. Instead, beginning of the game, middle of the game, they throwing these screens to the outside. I mean, come on now. I mean, and even then, stop running those plays. Run the slants. Get the ball to AJ in the middle of the field. Let him go out there and work. You know what I mean? I mean, I just didn't like the game plan that they had.
All right. Eagle fans from time to time don't like it when I nitpick and say things like, kind of got lucky on that pass into the end zone where the Arizona Cardinal defensive back got hurt and the Cardinals had to waste their last time out. Don't say anything like that. Give the Eagles all the credit. Well, I give them credit for what they deserve. And when they don't, I'm going to point that out too. The Giants are 4-1. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Barrett Brooks about this. I think their head coach, who's done a really nice job and is going to be a thorn in the Eagles' side for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, almost gave the damn game away yesterday at the end. For those of you who weren't up early, Eagles don't start to 4 o'clock.
Great game. I watched it too. Great game. I loved it. Great game.
As did I. And man, the Giants tried to hand it back to the Packers at the very last stages of that game. We'll break that down for you. And yes, we'll take a peek at the Dallas Cowboys. It is Cowboy Week, Sunday night, national TV versus the Birds here in town. Eagles are 5-0, but they only have a 1-game lead in the division over 2 different teams. How about the NFC Beast? 5-0 Eagles, 4-1 Cowboys, 4-1 Giants. How's it going, Carson? Oh, sorry about that, Mr. Wentz. Yeah, there's only one competitor in the division right now. But I do want to point out the Giants win yesterday and the fact that they almost screwed it up at the end. Barrett Brooks, Jody McDonald here with you. Stay with us on Birds 365.